Okay, last night I quickly read what my activity overview is, what my objectives are, what standards I'm using, and now, okay, materials needed. I am now on campus. I checked in, I'm signed in, I am ready for my day to be with the kids. So the first thing, materials needed. I come to the HIPS room. So this is the HIPS room. This door is often locked, so you have to be kind and you may have to get a key to open it. But here's your bin. And what you're going to do is look at your bin list and make sure you need everything you need for the lesson. We have it all pretty lined out, and make sure it's in here. We have two amazing moms that are going to help make sure the bins stay neat and tidy and we have everything. But this also causes a problem. We're only going to have a couple bins per grade. So you need to we're going to need to figure out a system. Yeah, I forgot to do that this morning and think about how we're going to register so everyone knows when someone's going, so you have a bin for your class. Right? I don't want you to show up and be like, oh, you're doing your lesson today? Oops, we don't have enough bins. So we can think about it, bin coordinators. We may need a couple more, just so everyone can get the lesson in. So I'm just doing a quick check. Yeah, I have everything. I know I forgot one thing. I'm going to bring that presentation board with me. Chad, do you mind carrying that for me? Because you're the closest. And I got this. Okay, I think I am set for my lesson. So I am off now. We're going to just close this up. We are by the cafeteria heading towards the sink. Or I will do it. Alrighty. I just realized I have one problem. But we're not going to stay in here. You guys can just keep going. You can kind of see I'm back behind this. This is usually open. The sink will be locked. There is a code. Let's just go out, Florida.
Oh, look at that. Oh, we really have to make the lessons. What if one sink and
Yeah, no, but it works pretty well. This is a big sink. So we will have the sink locked up because I don't want to even tell you all stories. The code is the same as our Sprouts toolbox. So sometimes there may be something on the bin list that you need to pick up somewhere else. Like for example, I know it's not in here because I forgot to do this morning. But you're going to grab, we'll just open this up. So the code is the school address, 1290. The school building address, right? 1290 Kimberly. So we're going to open it up and there'll be something in here that you need for the sink. You're going to need 2 buckets to put under the sink because that's how the gray water gets thing. So today we're going to just these aren't the ideal ones. You usually want a big one like this to go under the sink. Oh, in case we actually connect the sink and get water, we'll just bring. Okay, so grab a thing and you're going to need a water key. You can buy these at Home Depot for $2. Otherwise, they're sitting right on this little hook in the toolbox. They're all different types. This one I just got because it's heavy and I'm hoping people don't keep it in their pocket and bring it back. So I'm just going to load up my sink. I would prefer everyone always lock this up because kids like to touch and be into everything. So you may be here during a recess. We're going to quick lock that up. And they're going to look on your map, and Jessica's working on signage hopefully. So I'm going to head over to my class garden. Okay, put up my bucket, even though you're going to use a big one. Going to give you guys a workout today. We'll get in the shade as soon as possible, but the one tricky thing, oh maybe this is even more trickier than I thought. Bummer. The joys of, okay, this isn't going to come off. Bummer. But in other words, we'll fix that. These need to come off. The sprayer needs to come off, and then the hose attaches directly to this to get the water to work. So that's how it goes. And then you need your water key to turn it on. So that's just kind of a quick technicality. So I may just move it and try to use a different one because I do want you guys to wash your hands before you leave today. Let's see, where do we have the most shade? Maybe in Escalante's bed? Okay, so then the next thing, so I think if you're following along on the lesson, I'm trying to follow along. Setup needed, right? We hooked up the sink, it's kind of in this other order. And then I'm going to So this is next step is I want to put some stuff in here. Who wants to go to work? Anyone want to get dirty with me? I'm not sure.
You can see.
Right, so every lesson's different, but this one we want to just turn the soil a little bit. This is only why it is nice if the bed soil is turned, so then it's easier to kind of have fun and look at the soil for this lesson. But I just kind of turned it again because it is crazy how hard it gets even after just a couple days with this heat. And then there's a bunch of these, but today I'm just going to be quick, and I'm filling these containers up about to that line. Right, so it's just a magnifying glass to have some fun. So I'm gonna get all those filled up and like kind of just set them around the garden bed.
This is before the kids are coming,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I'm still on my prep. Yeah.
This is before. Each one of these kids.
Yeah, this is all before. So yeah, you know, so
So they were taking.
right. So this is, I guess, this is a good reminder, right? You can't just show up and think you're gonna start the lesson in the classroom. You do need about 15-20 minutes to get yourself ready before you have kids. So I'm gonna just set these around. Bertha, do you mind just setting that nicely? We're gonna just pretend there's soil in there. Let's see, what else? I think I'm set. First grader, anybody got a first grade lesson? What else does it say to do on setup? I think we maybe have these guys too, right? Okay.
So between for each group, you're going to divide it into 5 smaller groups.
That's what's wrong. So feel free to edit right in your binders. Yeah, we used to have really large classrooms. You guys are so lucky to be at Hacienda and be part of this district now. Anyway, I just found out recently why that happened. So yeah, so change that. You're not doing 5 groups. I suggest 3 groups. If you do have a rowdy class or maybe your first lesson, you want a little bit smaller groups. 4 would work, right? Because then it would be 6 kids at a time, 6 to 7 kids at a time. So you kind of just play it by ear. Have a chat with the teacher. See, ask her how he or she thinks the behavior is going to be for the class.
Groups would be about 6 or 7 kids.
Or 8, yeah, right. If you write 24 divided by 3, it'd be 8.
There's 26
And upper grade, so 8 or 9.
Okay.
and then each lesson, each group would be like 15 minutes.
Yes. Yeah, you can time me and see if we can get this done. So it's a really quick lesson out in the garden. It really is. But this one, I think the first one is a good one because there isn't a whole lot going on. It's really just introducing the kids of what we're doing out here. Good question. Okay, so I think I'm ready. I got all my setup done, right? Or did you guys see anything else on the first grade list?
Before the lesson, making sure the kindergarten building an area that all 6 students can reach. Brush should be 2 to 3 feet long, 1/2 foot wide, and 4 to 6 inches deep.
Okay, yeah, probably not, but we'll just do that. I forget why that's in there. Okay, so I think we're gonna kind of go through the kindergarten lesson, right? Because I have kinders here, right? Yeah. And then we'll just kind of expand. We'll do first grade kind of after kindergarten, and you'll see that there's a lot of similarities. You may even want to do some of the kinder in your first grade, because remember, your first graders didn't do this last year. Okay, so now I'm ready. I'm gonna take a deep breath, grab my, oh, we didn't bring it. Where'd Chad go? Oh, grab my board, and I'm gonna go in the classroom. But or if it's a beautiful day out, I've had the kids sit in the shade, or and do it outside too. It's really where the teacher thinks is best for her kids.
The introduction.
The introduction, yeah. Yep, the whole class. So I think it's easier sit on the carpet, keep it cool, and then just be in front of the class. And I know last year you guys were really good about presentations, like on the screen. We can think about that. You can tell the lady and I, we are both in our 40s when we did this. So we just thought this kind of way was the way of teaching, but definitely today, I think the kids are used to looking at stuff up on the screen. So you can, we'll play with it if you guys want it, if someone wants to put together a visual that goes on PowerPoint or something.
Do you have the files for all that?
I do.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm in my classroom and I'm pretty much,
I think they love the board. I think
Yeah.
it's-
oh, do they? Okay.
Old
Yeah,
school.
it's definitely, they can relate to it.
It's different than,
Yeah.
all the stuff that they're
Related
exposed to.
science right now, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is all.
Like the off topic. And then we put less than 2 on there. And then we put less than 3 on. So this one, the inner one. You guys, this is my former partner. That she's like a total process lady. So she may have my other board still and still working on some of that. But anyway, we did lots of different things. We like the Velcro the best. So this is always here and this is always here. Just the kids can always reflect. It's just the middle section changes per lesson. Even though it says less than 2. But this is not on the to-do list that we have to wet the or put water in here.
But those are the fun things that come in handy when you're doing the lesson.
Yeah, but it's nice to
Yeah.
be prepared, right? Okay, so now the soil's in here, and hopefully you have an amazing helper that's just gonna step up. And I guess that's why it's good to kind of have 2 bottles, is the docent can, start getting her soil wet, his or her soil wet, and then your helpers can kind of walk around and get the other soil wet. If anyone wants to try it with me, feel free, fill up the container. And then we're just gonna kind of smell it again. And it's gonna be, crazy how it's so different. Right, and then we're gonna talk about again, but now what do you smell? How does the soil smell now?
I'd like to smell it dry.
Yeah, you can come on over, guys.
Okay.
All right, and then we're just gonna go back. Now use your sense of sight. How does the soil look when it's wet? Right, isn't it different?
Oh, that is there.
Right, and you can go back. Now, does the soil look different now that it's wet? And we're just kind of talking and looking and observing. Okay, so that's the kindergarten lesson.
Ooh, earthy.
And you can kind of let them keep, touching or playing. And if you get kids that are bored.
Oh my. Mud. Yeah, I can do this one.
And then, another kind of conversation item, we have a few things at the bottom, like, what do people need to survive? What do we need to survive? What does your pets need to survive, right? Do you need water too? Do you need food every day? Do you need oxygen to breathe? And so, there's a few other kind of like questions if you want to have a conversation if everyone's still kind of having fun in here. And then the next step is just lining up and washing hands, and we'll have soap and stuff too. So the Sprouts department has soap, and then we have to figure out where we can put the towels. Florida's. So we have little hand towels that you can use. Personally, I like the whole natural, dry your hands off. Especially this first lesson, it'll be still a bit toasty. They'll dry really quickly in the air.
And Sprouts is throughout the year?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, our last lesson is usually in May, end of April. So 6 lessons. Yeah.
How do we do time management? Like,
Oh yeah.
how do we know that we're
I forgot that.
We're at 22 minutes right now.
Well, your first group is going to be the worst, and then you're going to progressively get better.
No,
Yeah,
thank
with
you.
15 minutes,
Right,
that's
I've
tough.
done this so many times. Right, like so that's another conversation with the teacher. Like I think it's nice to have an hour. Some teachers are flexible. Maybe that's 50 minutes. Maybe it's 75 minutes. Right, especially your first lesson could go a bit long. But yes, the joys of technology. I always say, set a timer for 10 minutes or 8 minutes. So when that timer rings, I'm like, oh wow, it's time to finish up. Let's go wash our hands. Right, so give yourself 2 minutes to wash up. And yeah, quick questions, and then we'll do a couple others. Bianca.
Is it still biodegradable? Like, what do we do with the water when we're done with it?
Right now I don't think mine, the one that I have, is biodegradable. If you have one that you know of.
Then,
So what I usually do is I feel like, especially we don't really want. Yeah, I usually never put the bucket. So right, water's coming out of your sink. You're going to kind of monitor that. I always water the trees.
oh, even with the soapy water too?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my understanding, usually dish soap doesn't hurt trees, and it actually stops weeds, right? So maybe that's why there's never weeds under the trees. I don't know. No, do you have a better idea?
No, I didn't know that this. I mean, it's probably so like it's not a lot, so it's not as big of a deal. But I know that tree over there had a bunch of annuals under it though last year.
Yeah,
So-
I know. They're not supposed to do that one. I don't think we can dump enough soap in that one. No, just
Okay.
kidding. So yeah, so I think is that hopefully in the lesson. Usually we need to have a cleanup. Maybe we forgot. Oh, and it's probably in the next lesson. We need to add that too. So yeah, the water gets just put under the trees only. Try not to put it in the actual gardens. Good question. Someone else, Nikki.
So does the sink roll out for every lesson, or is it just this first lesson?
Every lesson, I highly recommend.
So that they can wash their hands after they're done.
Yeah, and that's why I should remind that other group.
And that's the primary function of the sink is for hand washing?
Yes.
We don't do any lessons on there, we're not.
We do usually wash some of the vegetables and
Oh,
prepare some
okay.
of the vegetables near the sink.
Okay, got it.
But no, yeah, it's only hand washing. We do not let any of the kids use the bathroom
Yes.
to wash hands. Mr. Marcello, we had enough confrontations with him because there would be big chunks of soil. Like, I don't know how kids put stuff in their pockets and I don't see it, and then it goes into the bathroom and then it makes a huge mess, right?
Okay.
So that's why we got our own sink
I
to
was
manage
wondering
that.
what it was for, and I just,
Yeah,
because it wouldn't be in some of the lessons. And I
yeah.
just-
So that means
What type of soil do we have here?
That's a good one. Are you really testing me or?
No, I'm actually asking because I will be asked this.
There's a way
Someone will
of
ask
you
me
can-
this.
So there's a way that you can test the soil yourself. I don't know if the kids do it in the older
They-
grades, but it's
They do.
it would be a really cool lesson plan for the older kids.
I think-
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
they look
Yeah.
at the soap levels. We also, the jar, we usually let them look.
Yeah, so for kindergarten and first grade, I don't do it yet because I think this is a lot going on already, just being in the garden, especially first graders haven't really been in the gardens. But I think it starts in second grade. We show them a jar, and it's, so I do have the wrong board. The other board actually has, and there's a diagram in the sprouts room. So that's a good question. You guys want to come more in the shade? I feel like you guys are getting hot. So that's kind of the end of the lesson, right? You're putting your getting everyone lined up. I usually get everyone lined up in 2 lines to wash hands, right? And then I make them line up in front of the classroom on a number. And then when I open the door, then we're ready to all go in quietly together, right? So you remember Hawk Spirit, we're now got to change our Hawk mind and go into the classroom and get focused to be ready to get back in class. And then once they get seated, or sometimes too, one helper is getting the kids back in and the other helper already has the second group out here. So you can kind of keep the flow moving if you have good helpers. Okay, so third, fourth, and fifth grade really talk about what soil is composed of. And we have a couple good diagrams. So this is really, it's good soil for certain types of vegetables. So we call it a clay silt mix. And you'll learn that in the next couple lessons. So soil is made up of 3 key particles. We have clay, sand, and silts. So it's those 3 things. So yeah, we talked about that in the lessons last year. So we do have a jar that kind of shows that we scoop the soil up and let the soil sit. And you can see how the 3 levels of type of particles in our hacienda soil. So we're almost in the perfect zone for vegetable gardens. So like there's master gardens that have already identified where you really want your soil to be depending on what you're planting. So we're almost there. There's a cool triangle chart. We can try to add it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Nikki.
So I think on the Google Drive, there is a presentation that I use for Kinder that shows them the different soil particles. And then I think there may have been a printout, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think Lourdes did a big presentation last year, right? Because the lesson was a bit different for virtual learning. Okay, first grade. Right, so you're doing your senses first. First grade, right? We're going to kind of walk through the same thing and do your senses, and then they have the ball squeeze test. So let's just, if some of you want to try it with me, it is a bit complicated, but it's very fun. Thank you. Who gave this to me? Yeah. Let's see, I haven't done this in like 5 years, so let's see if we can make this happen. That's, I think, why we wanted the trough out here, because then the soil underneath is a little bit easier. It's easier to work with, less big chunks. So you're just going to kind of put this much in your hand, and this is where you're going to get dirty. So the first graders definitely need to wash their hands in the sink. So you're going to really use a lot of water, unfortunately, in times of drought. Okay, as you can see, okay, now I have plenty of water. I have lots of dirty hands. She's like, seriously? I have to do this?
Oh no, I was just like,
So, so the kids are going to probably need more water. You're going to kind of, this is where you definitely want the helpers passing the water bottle around, and maybe first graders not using this yet. But yeah, and now we have a totally different feel of soil. Oops, you guys have to help me. What am I talking about in the lesson? I think there's some good science words. Right? We can smell it again, we can feel it. And the best part about this, oh, and then we go like this. That's the way. So we have a nice ball, and then we gotta squeeze it out. This is the fun part. We're gonna try to squeeze it and make it like a flat pancake. And this is where it's cool. Now I can see more particles. I can feel that sand, right? Those sand pieces. If you want to come join me, you can feel that sand pieces. I can really feel the powdery silt. So yeah, you know, if you kind of want to talk about those particles, that's kind of, or you can just introduce it to them. Yeah, who can feel a big chunk? That's probably the sand. And feel how soft it is, like flour. Who bakes with grandma? And right, you know how flour feels like? That's what the silt feels like in our soil. So that's your ball test. And then you just throw the stuff back in, wash the hands off in the garden bed a little bit. And we need like better bottles.
Yeah, like industrial.
Is Celine's getting good bottles. No, she's gonna buy some for the group.
Oh, thank you, madam.
These are probably from 2016, so they're. Anyway, so then just wash off your hands and just chat about it. You can smell your hand again.
And that is
soil.
the end of lesson.
I think that is the end of lesson first grade, right?
Okay, first grade.
And just cleaning up.